On a quiet, tree-lined street in Amityville, New York, sits a large Dutch colonial house with those iconic eye-like windows. To most people, it's a symbol of horror, the star of books and movies that have terrified audiences for decades. It's the place of phantom pigs, green slime, and voices screaming, "Get out!" But long before the legends and Hollywood franchises, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue was soaked in a horror that was all too real. This isn't a story about ghosts. It's about the truth that got buried under a mountain of myth. Before the world knew the name Amityville for its hauntings, it was the site of a brutal, methodical family slaughter. This is the story of a crime that was bizarre and tragic enough on its own, well before the paranormal claims ever started. We're revisiting Amityville by exposing the verifiable human horror of the DeFeo family murders, the real-life massacre that started it all. To understand the tragedy, you first have to understand the family. On the surface, the DeFeos looked like they were living the American dream. Ronald DeFeo Sr., or Big Ronnie, was a successful service manager at a Brooklyn car dealership, giving his family a comfortable life in the suburbs. He and his wife, Louise, moved their 5 children from Brooklyn to the sprawling house on Ocean Avenue, a home with a swimming pool and a boathouse. They had the eldest, Ronald Jr., known as Butch, followed by Dawn, Allison, Mark, and the youngest, John Matthew. To their neighbors, they seemed like a normal, devout Catholic family, holding Sunday prayer huddles and displaying a prominent statue of St. Joseph on their front lawn. But behind closed doors, the DeFeo household was a pressure cooker. Big Ronnie had a formidable temper and an authoritarian parenting style. He was a large, overbearing man who demanded respect and obedience, especially from his oldest son. Butch DeFeo was, in many ways, the opposite of what his father wanted. Overweight and sullen, he was bullied at school and struggled to fit in. This created a volatile dynamic with his father, who was reportedly abusive, both verbally and physically. Neighbors and friends would later recall constant shouting matches between them. One friend even remembered Butch saying, "If he hits me again, I'll kill him." At the time, nobody took it seriously. To cope, or maybe just to rebel, Butch fell into heavy drinking and drug use, including LSD and heroin. Despite this, Big Ronnie gave his son a well-paying, no-show job at the car dealership, a move that seemed to be more about keeping up appearances than offering real support. Butch was seen as the family's black sheep. This toxic father-son relationship, a mix of resentment and humiliation, became the defining rhythm of the DeFeo home. Just weeks before the murders, things hit a boiling point. Butch claimed he was robbed while taking nearly $20,000 from the dealership to the bank. The police found his story full of holes, and Big Ronnie openly accused his son of faking the robbery to steal the money. The public humiliation was intense. In the weeks that followed, friends said Butch became more erratic and paranoid. The foundation was cracking, and the pressure inside 112 Ocean Avenue was about to explode. In the pre-dawn hours of Wednesday, November 13, 1974, that pressure finally erupted. At around 3:15 a.m., while Amityville slept, 23-year-old Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. took his .35 caliber Marlin high-powered rifle and, room by room, ended the lives of his entire family. His parents were his first victims. He shot Ronald Sr. and his mother, Louise, twice each. From there, he went to his siblings' rooms. His 2 younger brothers, 12-year-old Mark and 9-year-old John Matthew, were each shot once. Then he killed his sisters, 13-year-old Allison and 18-year-old Dawn, also with single shots. The crime scene left behind a series of bizarre and chilling puzzles that still baffle investigators. All 6 victims were found in their beds, lying face down. There were no signs of a struggle, and toxicology reports showed no sedatives, debunking the theory they were drugged. This leads to the single most haunting question of the case. How were 6 people shot with a high-powered rifle in a wood-frame house without a single one waking up or trying to run? Neighbors didn't report hearing any gunshots, only the family dog barking. It was as if the massacre happened in complete silence, a physical impossibility that has fueled speculation for decades. After the murders, Butch gathered his bloody clothes and the rifle, wiped a few surfaces, and left the house for work, leaving his parents and 4 siblings dead in their beds. The American dream the DeFeos were chasing was over, replaced by a silent, blood-soaked nightmare inside the house of high hopes. What came next was a clumsy attempt at deception. Butch went about his day like nothing was wrong. He went to the dealership, called the house a few times pretending to wonder why his father wasn't at work, and even hung out with friends, deliberately trying to build an alibi. That evening, around 6:30 p.m., Butch burst into Henry's bar, not far from his home, and yelled, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." A few people from the bar went with him back to 112 Ocean Avenue. While Butch waited outside, a friend named Joe Yeswit went in, discovered the horrific scene, and called the Suffolk County Police. When police arrived, they found Butch acting shocked. He immediately started spinning a tale about a mob hit, even naming a local mob-connected figure as a possible suspect. The story seemed plausible at first, since the family had distant ties to organized crime, and the police initially took Butch into protective custody. But the lie fell apart fast. Detectives saw no signs of forced entry. Nothing of value was missing, and Butch's own story had holes. Most damning of all, police investigating the alleged hitman found he had an airtight alibi. He was out of state when the murders happened. The investigation quickly zeroed in on the only surviving member of the family. In Butch's room, investigators found the empty box for a .35 caliber Marlin rifle, the same type of weapon used in the killings. The evidence was piling up, the questions were getting tougher, and the pressure on Butch was becoming unbearable. Finally, the next day, during intense questioning, Ronald DeFeo Jr. confessed. His first admission was a simple, chilling statement. "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." With his confession, the case seemed open and shut. But it was really just the beginning of a twisted saga that would cloud the truth for decades. DeFeo's stories would change and contradict each other so many times that separating fact from fiction became nearly impossible. What do you think was going through his mind? Was it a calculated lie from the start, or just the ramblings of a broken man? Let us know your theory in the comments. And if you're finding this deep dive into the Amityville facts valuable, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're committed to getting to the truth behind history's most compelling crimes. Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s conviction in November 1975 on 6 counts of second-degree murder should have been the end of the story. He was sentenced to 6 terms of 25 years to life, a sentence he served until his death in prison in March 2021. But from behind bars, DeFeo started spinning a web of conflicting stories, each one more elaborate than the last, leaving everyone to question what really happened that night. His initial defense at trial, led by his lawyer William Weber, was insanity. DeFeo claimed he heard voices from the house telling him to kill his family. This was the first time a supernatural element was officially introduced, a move the prosecution called a desperate stunt. The jury didn't buy it, finding him sane and responsible. But over the years, DeFeo's story kept changing. In one version, he claimed his sister Dawn started the violence, killing their father, and that his distraught mother then killed the other children. In that telling, he only killed his mother in a rage. Then, the story shifted again. DeFeo claimed Dawn and an accomplice killed everyone, and he only killed Dawn in self-defense. He was trying to repaint himself as anything but the sole killer. Perhaps the most detailed alternate theory came from interviews with author Rick Osuna for the book The Night the DeFeos Died. In these talks, DeFeo claimed that he, Dawn, and 2 friends planned only to kill their abusive parents out of desperation. According to this version, things went horribly wrong, and Dawn killed the younger siblings. Osuna, after reviewing crime scene evidence, found this version plausible, arguing the scene suggested more than one shooter was involved. This theory has been echoed by others who question the official narrative. Mob hits, demonic voices, a family conspiracy gone wrong. DeFeo had a story for every occasion. He would claim his lawyer pushed the insanity plea to get book and movie deals. He would claim he was framed. He never stuck to one story, and with each new version, the real motive got buried deeper. Was it for insurance money? An act of desperation after years of abuse? Or just a disturbed mind fueled by drugs and hate? The one constant in all his stories was a chilling lack of remorse. For 13 months after the murders, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue sat empty, a grim monument to the tragedy. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz bought the house for a bargain price of $80,000, moving in with their 3 children. They knew its dark history, but thought they could make it their own. They lasted just 28 days. The family fled on January 14, 1976, leaving everything behind and claiming they were terrorized by paranormal phenomena. Their story included green slime oozing down the walls, strange smells, and a demonic voice demanding they get out. Their account became the basis for Jay Anson's 1977 blockbuster book, The Amityville Horror: A True Story, which was then adapted into a huge film in 1979. And just like that, the true crime story of the DeFeo family was completely overshadowed by a ghost story. The 6 victims, Ronald Sr., Louise, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew, became a footnote in their own tragedy, their lives and deaths reduced to the backstory for a horror franchise. Many have since called the Lutz's story a hoax, a scheme to profit from the tragedy. Subsequent owners of the house, including one family who lived there for a decade, have reported no paranormal experiences at all. But the legend was already too powerful. The fiction had become more famous than the fact. This video wasn't made to debunk a ghost story. It was made to refocus the narrative on the very real horror that happened first. Before the cameras and the book deals, a family was destroyed. The true horror of Amityville isn't about what might have haunted the house. It's about the undeniable psychological terror that imploded within the DeFeo family. When you strip away all the myths and Hollywood sensationalism, the Amityville story is, at its heart, a profound human tragedy. It's a story about domestic turmoil, psychological breakdown, and the catastrophic failure of a family. The indisputable facts are this. On November 13, 1974, 6 members of the DeFeo family were shot and killed in their beds. The only survivor, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., was convicted of their murders and spent the rest of his life in prison, spinning a dizzying web of contradictory confessions. He died in 2021, taking any chance of a definitive truth with him. The ghosts of Amityville may be fiction, but the memory of the 6 people who lost their lives there is tragically real. Their story wasn't a prelude to a haunting. It was the haunting. The debate over whether the house is possessed misses the point. The most important question was never about spirits in the walls, but about the demons inside a family, and how the American dream, in a beautiful home on Ocean Avenue, collapsed into an American nightmare. The ultimate mystery isn't what happened during the 28 days the Lutzes were there. It's why, on a cold November night, a son and brother picked up a rifle and erased his entire family. What do you believe is the darkest secret still buried in the story of the DeFeo murders? Thank you for joining us on this revisit to the DeFeo murders. If you believe in separating fact from fiction and true crime, please subscribe and share this video. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. We read them all. Until next time, stay curious and question everything.